Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Guy here, and I'm here to just talk about uh, the project for next week, the Supercut, the Trench Supercut. Um, there's really no reason for me to talk about it right now, so I'm just really here to talk about my reasonings for why I added some songs, why I removed some songs, and as you can see right now in front of the screen, this is the songs that I omitted. For the most part, I mean, yes, I know there's a lot on the screen, and I want to talk about everything really quick. It's just that I making this whole series, it's like it's more for you guys than it is for me. So I wanted to make everyone included, and I wanted to add as many songs as I could. But then, like, the artist in me was like, well, I can't in good grace actually add some of these songs because it wouldn't make sense a part of the story, not just because there's only like one line of lore or because the music doesn't fit. It's because it's just like there's so many reasons, and I want to talk about some of these, not all of them. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm also going to be talking about the whole video itself. So we're just gonna go on this quick tangent. The first album, Fall Away, March to the Sea, Trapdoor, Cartridge of Death. For the most part, I feel like we could really just pull some lines from these, but there isn't enough for me to warrant putting them into the supercut. I mean, at this point, if we really wanted to add everything, it'd just be like, just listen to all their discography and just like place them in the order you think fits. So I wanted to make at least this version of the supercut be something more than that. Be like, oh yeah, this is made, curated by people, and I'm just putting the pieces together, and in a way that can be more like an album than just a playlist, you know? And so, yeah, the first album, Fall Away, March to the Sea, and Trapdoor, I feel like were the only ones that were sort of a loose way for me to put in there. I couldn't find a place to put any of these songs. Trapdoor, it was the closest, being the intro. It was going to be the intro, but then I thought there was a better way we could start the whole thing, and I picked Fairly Local Heavier Soul, which we'll talk about. A Cartridge of Death was one that I wanted to add real bad, but I didn't because in reality it was only the chorus that I was going to use. It was obviously going to be in Act 3, like in between Paladin Strait and the contract, which I already filled up that slot for Isle of Flightless Birds. So it was going to be a no-go. I did use a little bit of a snippet. You might be able to hear it. I did lower it a bit because I'm not a music engineer. I'm just an editor. And even then, I'm a bad one. So it's I just like fit it in there. And if you hear it and you don't like it, that's a me problem. I'm so sorry. Original at best. Glowing Eyes, Anathema, Be Concerned. Anathema is like the loose one. I honestly, that one just doesn't really need to be fit. I feel like Anathema might have been more of a, could have been like right after the Judge if I was gonna put it. But it was gonna be talking about the same thing about being under Nico's control. So that could have really gone anywhere. And I feel like there's a bunch of other songs that already touch that, and in a better way, like Morph and The Judge. So that one's omitted. Be Concerned, I hadn't listened to that song in forever. Honestly, I couldn't. Be Concerned and Clear, I just haven't listened to those songs. They're like my least favorite of original best, and maybe my least favorite in their discography, but that's just beside the point. I couldn't really think of where to put Be Concerned because I had already laid out the entire thing, and that's the one that I saw in one of the comments that was like, hey, you should add this, but I just couldn't think of where to put it. Glowing Eyes was one of the earlier ones. I was thinking, and I will get into this a little bit later, but during Act 1, there's two parts where you could add songs, and I did for the second one, but the first one is in between Heavy Dirty Soul and Jumpsuit. We are told through I Am Clancy that he wandered, grew weak, and he was eventually tracked down. And that they don't give us an actual time frame of how long it's been from Jumpsuit to Heavy Dirty Soul, or the other way around. The only way we really get to know is Tyler's hair. So his hair grows a reasonable length by the time he gets captured. So if that's to be a hint, you could definitely add some songs here. I think Glowing Eyes would definitely been a pace killer. Immediately following, Heavy Dirty Soul, a really heavy song. Not really heavy, but a more dark sounding song to Glowing Eyes. to talk about the bishops, honestly, I couldn't really see that fitting there. You could have also put it where I put the other three songs, the new ones, Neon Gravestones, Morph, and what's the other one? The Judge. But if you're talking about the whole 9 bishops, I feel like Nico 99ers did the job, and we want to like put the glowing eyes to be Nico, then you already have the Judge. So it would have been, adding more, but less because they're not explaining it as well as those two songs. So I just cut it out. Holding On to You, Migraine, Semi-Automatic, and The Run and Go from Vessel. Holding On to You and Migraine might be a bit confusing because it's technically in there in the live stream experience, and I just didn't add this because because of that, but I just didn't feel like there was another way that I could put them. Holding On to You again being a little bit of a different pace, but I also don't see how the lyrics fit other than Entertain My Faith, so I just completely cut that one out. Migraine again, it just Island of Violence. That was really the only thing I could have gone. Not only that, I think Migraine is the the Trench Saga, but like in a realistic way. So I don't think of it as a part of the lore because I think it is the lore realized in a real way. Semi-Automatic and The Run and Go, those were just fun ones I saw in the comments. I thought I thought some of them fit. I thought Semi-Automatic definitely could have fit. And I'm not gonna elaborate why. I'm double-sided. I kind of like it. I kind of like it when I make you cry because I'm so sit up. Honestly, I think I just kind of pulled these lines and I was like, oh well, this is technically Morph. I'm double-sided. I'll turn it to someone else. I feel like those two songs honestly could have been together, but it's again adding to what we already learned from Morph, and it just, to me it just doesn't feel right to just add another of the same song. The Run and Go though, I can take them on my own. I killed a man, all I know. So it's like he's on a run and go. Honestly, that could have been maybe after the Outside during Act 2, but I don't know. That's the only real thing I could see for this song. Then we go to Blurry Face, Message Man, Hometown, Goner. Hometown, I definitely could have seen going in between Heavy Dear Soul and Jumpsuit during that time while he's exploring the outside trench. And I don't know why I didn't add it. I guess I kind of just thought about it at the end. Honestly, Hometown definitely could have fit there as like an explanation. Where we're from, there's no sun, our hometown's in the dark. His hometown being, Dima. But I guess I just completely slipped my mind. I'll be honest. Message Man, I saw another comment on it. I didn't see this one. The lyrics don't really like. I wanted it on the run. It's another one of those, that he's on the run. I could have added that again. What's it called? After Act 2 or Act 3. It could have been either way, but I didn't really think of it. So that's just not there. Goner is pretty interesting. Goner, I had this thought in my mind when City Walls came out. We hear the Heavy Dirty Soul instrumental start, and when that came out, when I went to the listening party, I was thinking back to Goner because that's exactly what happened, or at least the alternate version of Goner. But ever since then, I always thought that Goner was definitely the bad ending. The creaking sound, I don't know if it was rope, I don't know what it was, definitely gave me trigger warning suicide attempt sounds, or it made me think of that. It made me think of suicide, and I just thought like, well, this is definitely like a bad ending for Clancy. That's the way I thought of it. It could be completely wrong, but I always thought of Goner as a bad ending song, and it could definitely go in place of like right after City Walls, where instead of just giving up and turning into a bishop, he legit just gives up. Honestly, Goner could have been placed after Act 2 before Leave the City. Goner could have acted as a bad ending at any point. That's my reasoning for Goner not being there. Heathens is another one that showed up in the live stream experience. I think it otherwise wouldn't have been in the story. I know it's all my friends, we know the lyrics. I just don't see it fitting. I see the music video fitting, but not the actual song. And then Backslide and Routines in the Night. Backslide because Nico speaks for him, but I feel like that's more of a introspective song for Tyler. It's like, yeah, sure, so is the line. The line is a personal song, and I still added it. But Backslide felt like more of a take a 2 steps back and look at where you're at sort of deal. So I didn't see a way where that could have been fit in. Maybe Act 1, or Act 2, maybe. No, it's definitely Act 3, where like after Banditas, where he's like, oh, I guess it would have been in for Doubt. It could have been it could have taken the place of Doubt, because that's what I'm trying to say. It's the Backside is more of a doubtful song, right? So like, it would be right before Paladin Straight or before My Blood. It could have fit somewhere in there. That's what I'm trying to say. Routines in the Night again is one of those where it's like, well, the lyrics don't really fit. So I guess it's only the bits of the music video that would have made sense. But that's exactly what I did in that. So those are why I didn't go over for these songs. I hope you guys understand. Because what I was trying to go for is, again, cinematic, thematic. It was supposed to be the story that honestly was really pushed because of the I Am Clancy video. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made this video. So let's get to finally start talking about the actual songs on the video. So Act 1. Act 1 starts off with Fairly Local and Heavy Dirty Soul. Obvious way for me to start it off, honestly. I was thinking about it when I was first starting to make the Supercut, whether I should just continue using the I Am Clancy and the Torchbearer theme as the intro, but I thought I needed something more exciting. So then I was looking up Heavy Dirty Soul mashups, and then I remembered the Emotional Roadshow start, and I got really pumped up by that song. So I added Fairly Local Heavy Dirty Soul, and it's a good way for me to like really stick to the motif of the FPE, using it as the act names, but also having Nico in every act saying the Feed the Proud and the Emotional, I feel like is a good thematic way to tie around the story that he is the overarching, not villain, he is the antagonist, the antithesis to his thesis. But I don't see Nico as an antagonist, more as the driving force for Clancy. I don't really think there's a real antagonist other than himself, which is, the whole point of this metaphor. So Fairly Local and Heavy Dirty Soul mashed up using, of course, Alex Be Quiet's version of the studio version of the I can't think. Can you tell I didn't write a script for this? Anyway, after that we have Jumpsuit. Again, we're following the music video lore, so I couldn't think of what to add here. And like I said, I definitely could have added Hometown, but we omitted that part. So that's just gonna stay like that. It's just continuing on with the actual music video bits, and nothing else to say here. There are lines, obviously, about him wandering, and there's also him finally finding out the Banditas are there. So that's what happens there. And then normally we'd get Nico and the Niners, but in this case we're saving that for a bit. So this is one of the parts where, or I guess the second part, where I think you could have definitely told something while the story is happening. So after he gets captured, this is my thought. He gets captured twice during his act. He gets captured right here in Jumpsuit, and then he gets captured again at the end of Levitate. So my thought was, you could either have these songs as flavor text, or as flavor text would be in an RPG, here or at the end. And I just sort of came to the conclusion that I think it'd be better for it to happen here, because we'll get to it. But this is using the I Am Clancy vocals, the dialogue given to us as a real blueprint to really help us flesh out the story, and using the tracks that we already have, like, of course, Neon Gravestones. It helps us set a tone for where we're at. And that's what an Act 1 does. It sets everything up. We learn about Clancy, we learn about Nico, we learn about the Banditos, and by extension, the Torchbearer. So why not learn more about what's happening, why they're doing this? Because the Neon Gravestones, the Glorious Gons, this is why they're fighting. So these three songs are just meant to give more context to the world rather than push the story along. We know that Nico and the Niners is going to do that. Following that is Morph. It's honestly one of my favorite song of theirs of all time. This is my favorite song, but that's beside the point. It definitely helps us learn more about why Nico has such a fascination with Clancy and vice versa, and learning, he's a copy, blah blah blah. Like I said earlier, with what song did I compare it to? Oh, Semi-Automatic. It's just more, obviously, like I keep saying, context to what's happening in the story. Since we don't really have visuals for these three, we're supposed to make our own, and honestly, the lyrics paint a better picture than you could imagine. But yeah, and then the Judge. This is another one that was asked for a lot, where we're learning about Nico, and I think that's why people wanted it, because it's you learn more about the man himself. And the lyrics aren't as reinforcing, but you know that the Judge in this song is Nico, and using I Am Clancy, it helps us piece together what's going on. And then obviously we go into Nico and the Niners. So these three songs, you could definitely added something like a Semi-Automatic, like Anathema, like maybe even Glowing Eyes. You could have definitely added it in this little break, but I didn't, because I think those songs definitely would have kept the pace. I think adding too much in Act 1 would have honestly muddied up a bit too much. Not only that, there were not too many more lines in I Am Clancy for me to use, so I just went ahead and skipped those songs. I feel like what we had is clear and concise. You learn more about the world, and we get to where we are in Nico and the Niners. This is the next music video that follows the story. It's the Banditos going into Dima and breaking Clancy out again. We learn that, they get out, and of course, Levitate comes next. Whoops. This one, I guess we don't know how long it is when he gets picked up again. My guess is pretty quick, but quick enough for every one of the Banditos to warm up to Clancy and to think of him as some sort of leader, even though the Torchbearer is there. So, yeah, we don't know how much time passes through here. We just know that happens. You can stick him back, and we go into Act 2. Act 2 is the easiest to get through because it's just the entirety of the live stream experience. But I want to quickly talk about one of my bigger gripes of the story, and that's the lack of knowledge of what happens between Levitate and the live stream experience. Now, I understand the letters add a lot of context. My favorite one being that Clancy is taken into a room where the only thing he can really note about it is the bright blue door. And that's the whole intro that they use for, I think, the Icy Tour. So there's definitely like lore happening between Levitate and the live stream experience. But there's no way for me to articulate that. There's no I Am Clancy video for me to articulate what happens between those two parts. So we're just going to go with our imagination, and just after he gets captured, they use him immediately after, even though who knows how long it took for him to write the album and making the show. But Act 2 is the featured performance event, which is the live stream experience. Now, I'm writing this as the live stream experience because I don't feel like I need a note to every single song. We've all seen it, and if you haven't, go to my drive. It's down in the description, bio, what is it called? Yeah, the description below. It's down in the description below. You can click that. You'll be able to see any of the multitude of versions I made. Just look for the ones that have the video, and it probably has the live stream experience. So we've all seen the live stream experience. So there we know that Carver and I don't know what other bishop, I'm sorry, I don't know that, are interviewing Tyler talking about Skull and Icy, trying to promote this album, being, this is the happiest you'll ever be. It's saturated. I left those lines in to add a little bit more flavor text because I feel like having the bishops get their own lines and pushing this narrative that this is all fake is so much better than just leaving it out as more storytelling. The one song I did add during the live stream experience is No Chances, and that is immediately after Jumpsuit and Heavy Dirty Soul. What would have gone in its place is the exact commercial that we pretty much get at the beginning of No Chances, the song that I added. Again, a shout out to Alex Be Quiet. He remixed that song using it was a studio version of the live show of Good Day and No Chances. So go watch that video. And I used that specific one because it had the bishops talking, and it honestly fit better than I thought. Following that is obviously the rest of the live stream experience. And then after that, well, there's not much for me to talk about the live stream experience. It's just him getting captured, being used, and who knows how long it happens. We know it happens for a while. So much so that he is starting to yearn to... I couldn't think of where to put this song. I knew I wanted this song in there. I just didn't know where. I couldn't think of how to use it. It was going to be either after Levitate, which is why I used a bit of the clips of the song in the beginning of Act 2, and even after, what was it? It was after a song, I can't remember which one. I used a bit of the, after No Chances, I used a bit of the Leave the City bits there. I really wanted to use it, but I felt like putting it in right before Levitate was a bit too weak, and I needed Clancy to struggle just a little bit more for me to add this song about him wanting to leave and how he's going to stay alive even though he's going through a hard time. Like I said, it could have been right after Levitate when he's like writing all these songs, and like, album wise definitely would have made sense there. I just feel like after he's gone through this whole live experience, he realizes how much he's probably going to dread staying here. And Saturday only happened because one of the bishops betrayed Nico. And now we're back to the music video timeline. Saturday and the outside. Obviously doubles they were in the live stream experience, but I feel like that was the only reason I added them. I don't know if you paid attention earlier, but when I was going through the omitted songs, almost one song from every album except for Breach and Skeld and Icy showed up. Because Skeld and Icy doesn't really have lore-related songs, minus just No Chances. And while, yes, the whole album itself is lore, if it wasn't, honestly, no songs from Skeld and Icy would have shown up in this at all, period. I don't dislike the album, I just don't like it. But yeah, that's my own opinion. We'll talk about that another time. So Saturday and the outside were music video tie-ins. We learned that's Carver or was one of the bishops. I don't know which one. I think it was Keon's. I don't remember. They betrayed Nico, and the controlled trash, the dragon, got him out of the submarine. Ended up on a violent island. Voltsoy finds Ned. I forgot the name of a neurological something. Ned helps him. Clancy takes control of the dead bishop. They start Havoc and Dima. They finally call over the other banditos, and we are getting the story moving along. So there's not much in Act 2 that we could have added, to be completely honest. There wasn't anything that we could have really added that adds any sort of flavor than we already got. Otherwise, Act 2 would have just been Saturday in the outside. So, I mean, that's really it. Act 2 is the shortest in terms of reasons to explain, but longest in terms of we had to use the entirety of the live stream experience. But that gets us into the hardest part, Act 3. Now, for the most part, we didn't have an I Am Clancy to guide us. That's why I really liked Act 1 and 2, because I Am Clancy acted as our blueprint. And without that, we really much had to just guess. And there was not much guessing if we're just going music video wise, because music video wise, the outside, overcompensate, navigating, all flowing perfectly in between the three of them. We don't know how much time passed between the outside and overcompensate, but I'm assuming it's not too much for them to just cross the Paladin Strait, especially when Trash Dragon is already dead. So, I'm assuming not too much time passed. And then obviously overcompensate to navigating is immediately after. And then the only time we do get some time off is in between navigating and Paladin Strait. We're going to assume that they have some time to prepare for the upcoming battle. And then obviously Paladin Strait into the contract, into city walls, into intentions. It's all at the end. So there's really not much we can mess around with here. That's why it was hard for me to add songs into Act 3, but we're just going to talk about the ones that we know. The only reason I'm adding True says, oh yeah, this is an Act 3 song is because I feel like people just like understood. So this is the entirety of Act 3. This is the canonical path that we take, like I just explained. But there were some songs I really wanted to add. And these were songs that were like really asked for in the comments. There were Bandito, it was My Blood, it was Isle of Flightless Birds, and The Line. Those songs, they had to be in there. I've got so many comments about those specific songs being in there, and I found a way to fit them. So immediately after navigating, during the music video at the end, you hear a bit of the My Blood happening, starting, ending, who knows. And so we just immediately follow it into My Blood. I feel like it's just a way to signify how the relationship of Clancy and the Torchbearer is that close. So it's just a nice song to have. I see it more as a positive than a negative in every way. It's just, again, more flavor, more context. And then immediately after, Bandito. This was where I was going to stop with the songs in between Navigating and Paladin Strait. But let's quickly talk about Bandito. I feel like My Blood following Bandito is a perfect way to swell up and get the story started, or get the story started to end to go into Paladin Strait. I feel like this is the best way that we could have really gone into this. And it was perfect. I uploaded it, people liked it. And then I did another video where it's whether they preferred. I just realized there's another song in between here. I completely forgot. People were asking, what about this song? And again, I released a video saying if this song, would you prefer it before or after Bandito? And most people didn't want it, but some people said, oh yeah, well let's put it right after Bandito instead then, because I feel like My Blood into Bandito just fits perfectly. And then I made the uncomfortable decision of saying, okay, well, let's just put it in there. I will say I don't like this, but people wanted it, so we have doubt. I think it makes sense. It's Clancy doubting himself before going into the battle, and I just couldn't really get past it too much. I just feel like there was little tension going into Doubt into Paladin Strait, because we're already getting this high energetic song about him doubting himself, don't forget about me if something goes wrong, blah blah blah. Yes, I get it. There's also that line about 9 on the bishops, but I just couldn't see myself putting this song without feeling a little bit icky, but we're here. Going into Paladin Strait, during the quiet time, I said it earlier, we added Isle of Flightless Birds. It's not my least favorite song to add in between the silence, because it was either this or A Cartridge to Death, and I feel like both would have done okay, but I feel like the chorus fit in between Paladin Strait, not at the end of it. I feel like it was supposed to be literally, if you're talking about music video wise, it would be right before they go to attack Dima, or as he's climbing. But either way, I don't feel like Cartridge to Death would have made too much sense. That's why I added Isle of Flightless Birds, mainly because of the first line, now is the climax to start, and I really like that. So Isle of Flightless Birds is there. Following that, the contract, which is, self-explanatory. It's like right in between. It's in between the contract and City Walls, or at least before he fights back. And then in between the contract, I had The Line. That one went well with people during the second version of the Trench Saga I made. Nobody complained. Everybody liked it. I get it. Like I said earlier, it's a personal song to his grandmother, but the lyrics just made too much sense to not add. So the line is going in here. City Walls immediately follows after, and right before City Walls goes into Intentions, or before like the Torchbearer thing goes into Intentions, Tally was another song people really wanted me to add. Why is this one small? Anyway, Tally was another one people wanted me to add. I just didn't see Tally going anywhere below, anywhere above City Walls. And so I had to like think of a way to add that. And again, just like that, I honestly could have skipped this one. I didn't, but it's there. Anyway, that's the entirety of the Trench Saga. Act 1, 2, and 3. My reasons for them. I might make a DLC for it, which is just adding some of these songs in there. It's not meant to be pretty. It's just meant to be like, oh yeah, well, this is where I would put them. This is how I would make them make sense. But don't quote me on that. I'm really excited for you guys to see it. This is obviously a massive collaboration with every single talented visual effects artists, every motherfucker out there who allowed me to use their visuals for this video. All their credits are going to be in the video. They're going to be in the description. Everything's going to be available for you to see because I'm really just an editor. I just had one idea and then I did this, and then people wanted more, so I did more. I'm not calling anything bad about this. This is honestly the most fun I've had. I've been able to talk to you guys. I've been able to interact overall with everyone. I've had a lot of fun, and that's really where it is. I hope you guys watch it next week on December 5th at 6 p.m. It's a 2-hour video, so I'm not expecting to watch it all, but I hope you guys, like, subscribe, tell me what you think about it in the comments. And thank you for listening to me ramble for, I think, 20 minutes. I will see you guys next week. Bye.